Hi guys, welcome to Extra Talk. Today, special guest again, Maxwell.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I said special, but actually you've been here before, so.
Yeah, but it's good to be back.
Good to have you.
Feels like home.
Good. And Papimento, of course, everybody know Papimento.
What's up, guys?
All right, so guys, we're in the middle of the international break, and the international break is always a good time, to reflect back on Ajax, how they're doing, what's going on, and you start thinking about also players, coach, a lot of things, cross your mind. And I came up actually with something I want to talk to you about today, and it's more specifically about the bench players. We don't talk a lot about bench players. We always look at the players that are on the pitch, starting 11, they get more attention. But I want to know from you guys, the current bench players at the moment, in the second half of the season, how do you guys see them? And more importantly, do you guys think they have potential or do they add value to the team? Maybe not now, but maybe in the future. So before we start, I have 5 names. We're going to run by them. We're going to talk about them as well. I have excluded the goalkeepers. They're not part of this conversation today. So there will be 5 field players we're going to talk about. And I just to start, I want from both of you to know whether you guys think they have potential or they have added value to the team. So let me start by mentioning the name, and please say yes or no. To start off, Sean Klaiber.
Yes. No. Sorry. No.
No? All right.
No.
Right.
No.
Okay. Perr Schuurs.
Yes.
This is a difficult. Yes.
All right. Zakaria Labyad. Next one.
No.
Yes.
Jurgen Ekkelenkamp.
No.
No.
Lassina Traoré.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So let's start talking. Sean Klaiber, first one. So Sean Klaiber was a summer signing, recent summer signing. He's a little bit different than the other names because he's also the replacement of Dest, in the summer, and he was basically bought. I mean, we're not allowed to say that from Ten Hag, but he was bought as a backup, of course, for Mazraoui. But the funny thing is now that Mazraoui has been out for a long period of time, and still he's not being used that much because we have 2 youth players playing more on that position. Jurgen Timber, of course, and let's not forget Divine Wrench. So my question to you is, did Overmars do a good job to buy Sean Klaiber? And do you guys think that maybe this is his first season? We have to be a bit more patient. He was bought, of course, for 4 years. So how do you guys see all these things about Sean? Maxwell, you go first.
At the beginning of the season, I think it was a good transfer. It was a good decision from Overmars to respond to the leaving of Dest, and at that moment we were still competing in all the competitions, and not the EuroLeague but the Champions League. So asking your youth players to adjust to that level. I can see why he chose for a guy of his age, not for his potential, but for his age, someone who can adjust quickly to the way of playing of Ten Hag, because he played with him before. In that being said, I can follow that. So
yeah, that logic. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but if you look back at the situation, well, I think everyone will agree that his signing wasn't that needed, like we thought at that moment.
Look, Overmars does more right than wrong, so I'm not going to blame him for this. But for me, I saw during the preseason already that Wrench and Timber had enough quality to be a backup for Mazraoui. Maybe it was too early, but if I just compare Klaiber skills-wise to these youngsters, they passed him already in half season. So it is a weird transfer for me. If it's already a backup, why not just keep the Johan Cruyff mentality in, as if we can fix it within Ajax. Fix it within Ajax, and if we really need somebody for first quality to boost our quality, go outside of the club. But for me, it was unnecessary. We have enough quality, and don't forget, Ajax sees their players every day, so they should have some idea which player are close to the first team.
Yeah, but look, those two players, right, Jurgen Timber and Divine Wrench, I don't know if you guys agree or not, but there's always a question mark whether they can cope, not even skill-wise, forget that skill-wise, argument, but physically, if they can cope with that. Because the physical aspect of the game is a little bit, we don't always look at it, but especially if Ajax was going into Champions League, they were going to play against Atalanta and Liverpool and these kind of teams. Is it logical from our perspective to think, just put Wrench or Timber, they'll just do the business,
We started with Schuurs.
Yeah, but Schuurs had the whole season, last season, playing at Young Ajax and sometimes playing a little bit and adapting to the culture of Ajax. And don't forget, he used to play before that at Fortuna Sittard. So it's a different, we'll talk about Schuurs later, but that's a different situation than Wrench or Timber, in my opinion.
I think the thing is, at the moment, and I think that's a question I hear a lot lately, is the Ajax Academy. We used to let players develop to the level of Ajax, to the level of the Eredivisie. But now we are trying to educate them to compete on the level of a Champions League level. And I think there's no question about it that Wrench and Timber both were ready for the Eredivisie. But were they ready for the Champions League? And I don't think so. That 6 months ago, at the beginning of the season, I don't think so.
Look, let me just add one more thing about Sean Klaiber, and then we will move to the next player. Look, the situation of Ajax has also changed, right? They want to be a club that plays every year and competing in the Champions League. And you cannot always buy the best players, You also have to take into consideration you want youth to develop. So isn't it normal to maybe think maybe sometimes you have to buy backup players, even though it's not something that we want?
No, that's, to me, it's simple, and that justifies also the buying of even Labyad, because you also need some depth in your squad.
Exactly.
You need some depth because we had some seasons. I don't recall which one, but we had some seasons that we were playing international games and things weren't going well in the first half, and then everybody is talking in the break time who we got on the bench, who can make a change if we put them in the second half, and the bench were only youth players.
Yeah,
I trust in the youth. Don't get me wrong, but sometimes when you have to make a real big difference, and I don't think you can ask that much of a youth player to make a big change in a Champions League match. So you need some depth players who have some experience, and even though they come from the Eredivisie, and you can question if they have the levels and the skill set to be at Ajax, but to have that depth in your squad, I think it's part of the game, and it's part for the youth players to understand that.
Yeah, that's a good point as well. Look, just to round
off. My final point?
Yeah, sure.
Just my final point. Look, Klaiber, Labyad, fine. Everything under top 6 they can play with in the Eredivisie. But if you're gonna tell me that they're quality enough for Champions League, I'm sorry. Also mistaken to have that assumption, because their quality is not enough for Champions League.
Yeah, but again, look, if you look at Klaiber is not being used basically as a player for the Champions League. He's playing as a backup player, and Joakim put him in, and he does his business, I mean, mostly in the Eredivisie, but still, this guy will not, he's a stable player. He has a lot of experience, so he will not, make mistakes like you see Schuurs making, which is our next player we will talk about. But he will not make the mistakes that Schuurs. Schuurs is making rookie mistakes, the mistakes of not being experienced enough, in my opinion. But we will talk about him in a bit. Do you guys want to add something more about Sean Klaiber at this point?
Yeah, I mean, we're blaming Schuurs a lot, but I just want to say that
No, about Sean Klaiber. Sean Klaiber.
Yeah. But if we look at how he played against Twente, for instance, with Menig that came in twice and shot the ball and got the goals, 2 times his mistake. And if we're talking about experience, he should have done better. Yeah. So what are you actually bringing
after
in?
After that, Papimento, he didn't have many chances to redeem himself. So it's not fair just to look at him in one game.
Just one game.
Exactly.
No, it is one game, but other players. Yeah.
There are a lot of players in the first team who had a really rubbish game, and let's not forget, at that game at Twente, everybody played bad, a really bad game. But he stood out because his men scored two goals. I can agree more.
So listen, just to come back to the answers you guys gave, Pavimento is clear. Maxwell, you said no, but looking at his role, you're okay with it. I understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and looking at the position where we are now, but the question is, does he have any future at Ajax? No.
All right.
No, but his role for now, it's okay. We saw it with Schöne last year. At some point, you can see that things are going too fast for him, and example for Klaiber as well. But can you use him? Yeah, of course you can use him, because we have a lot of games, also against the lower class teams. You can give some rest to the other players to play their matches against the top teams.
Okay, let's move to Schuurs. Perr Schuurs is the next one on the list. So Perr Schuurs' situation is different. He has been given a lot of playing time in the first half of the season, but going into the second half of the season, he was basically becoming more a bench player, and his role is taken by Timber and to a lesser extent also Alvarez, who also has been used recently as a center back. So how do you guys see that? Do you guys think this is, I mean, don't forget, we're talking Klaiber is 26, but Schuurs is 20, still a young player, still time to develop. Do you guys think he has more potential than he has shown this season? Do we have to have more patience with him? Or do you guys think, no, actually, I don't see him being better than what he just showed us in the first half of the season? Maxwell, you first.
I think he has more potential. I think, yes, we have to be more patient. But I made a choice that I said yes before, but that is because I had to make a choice. Because after one match or at moments in a game, I would say yes. Look, I see the potential of Schuurs, and sometimes he does things in a game that I'm wondering, why is he playing at Ajax at all? He has so much ups and downs in the game. Isn't steady at all. But the one thing I lack of him is his way of movement. He's like a tank.
Yeah.
And
he's not agile enough. He's not agile.
Yeah, he looks athletic, but he is not agile at all.
Okay. So that's a big question mark.
We saw it in the last game against with the Jong Oranje game. Yeah, they played against a team where he and Botman, Germany, and he and Botman were the center backs. Well, they are both tanks in that center back, and okay, when they have to be physical, it's too forced. Like if you compare him to Timber has a natural hardness.
But look, is it fair because Timber and Rensch they came through the academy, right?
True.
Schuurs did not come through academy, so he's learning the defending from Ajax. It's different. You're playing much higher up the field. You have to be much more, you cannot make a mistake. If you make a mistake,
true. He has to adjust. He has to adjust to play with 40, 50 meters in his back.
Yeah.
True. But like Cruyff said, you can't have every talent playing at your team. So sometimes you have to get them from elsewhere.
Yeah.
And maybe Schuurs is a late bloomer. Okay.
Exactly.
Before he came to Ajax, but it doesn't mean that he can't be a part of the squad, of the level of the squad.
Yeah.
Just give him time. But well, again, we all know he's playing at Ajax, and the fans and Ajax itself, we are impatient because we want to win. We want to win every game, and we want to win prizes. So, do we have the patience to see him develop? If I can bring in another example, look at Vertonghen. Vertonghen was at his best in his last season, and the 4 seasons before that, he was making the same mistakes as Schuurs is doing at the moment. And look at the fans now; they all want him back.
But we loaned Vertonghen out to RKC first, right?
Yeah.
And I remember him scoring against us as well.
He was that bad that we loaned him out to the one of the squads in the lower division.
Yeah.
So,
but look
what a comeback he made.
Yeah, but we don't even have to go that long ago to have a similar example, because I'm thinking more and more that maybe we should give him time like Veldman. Veldman was also not appreciated by the fans in the beginning, and it took very long. He's been with Ajax for a very long time. Actually, the last 2 seasons, 1.5, 2 seasons prior to him moving to Brighton, he reached his peak at Ajax.
Yeah, true.
And I'm not saying that Schuurs will go through that same.
No, but he can walk that same path, and that's the patience that I would like to see at the Ajax fans. But I can totally understand if people don't have that patience with him.
Yeah.
Because I can see the things that he shouldn't be doing.
Pimento, your take?
Yeah, my issue. No, let's start with the positive things about Perr, because I think, if you look at his posture and stuff, you think of the Ligt. Sometimes he does have some forward passes from the back, in which he does pretty well. But you just notice it's not only at Ajax that you carry your own duties as a defender. No, you have Blind next to you, or at least in this first half of the season, you had Blind next to you. That means you have double so much responsibility in your defensive duties than normal. Okay, and I think that was too much for Schuurs. Maybe he has the same issue as Frank de Boer, always one mistake during the game, but one big mistake that cost us directly. It's either a goal or not. And I do think that's something that he always shown, that he's not decisive enough, and he always has one moment that he fucks up during the game.
Look, honestly, just to illustrate this, we played against Liverpool that first game. Schuurs played a really good game, but with that goal, Mane just shook him off, and he went the other way, and that led to the own goal of Tagliafico. That's a typical, and at the same time, it's his first time playing at that level, and not against any team. We're playing against Liverpool, but what you see throughout the game, he has so much potential. He's doing a really good job, and then one thing happened, and that cost us the goal, and then you think like, well, we shouldn't be too harsh because he's still young, etc., etc. But like you said, also Maxwell,
I think a different formation would suit him better. He might get more mature and smarter during his duels on the pitch later on. So that's why I think he has a future at Ajax if he considers to stay the bench player for 1 year, 2 years, to really gain skill and smartness in the game. Yeah. I think he has the potential to pick it up.
I want to add something as well. You talked about also his forward passing. I'm not seeing the Schuurs of Fortuna Sittard. At Fortuna Sittard, he was.
I agree with that. I don't see the same Schuurs.
It's like he's playing with the brakes on.
Yeah, true. I don't still don't see. I think I haven't seen any game where I see.
Because we know he can do it. He's a very good passer as well.
True. Yeah, but he doesn't. Maybe he's lacking in confidence. Maybe it's his assignment.
Coaching, maybe.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, we don't.
I mean, if you look at Timber and Rens, they're doing fine, right? So it's not all coaching, I think.
Yeah, that's true.
No, but the pros for Timber and Rens is they walk through the whole academy.
They know exactly what to do.
And I think also their movement.
Yeah, they have a much better agility, and again, I think also maybe those guys are from the big city, Schuurs is
different mentality as well. We forget that
different mentality.
Yeah.
Maybe he's a little bit too modest on the field. Maybe, I don't know.
All right, let's move to the next one. So the next one is I don't remember, was Labyad or Ekkelenkamp? Let's talk about Labyad first. So Labyad is not a young player, 28, even older than Sean Klaiber. So we got him a couple of years ago. Actually, similar situation as with Schuurs. He has been giving a lot of playing time in the first half of the season. He has also picked up some goals, assists. He has been given a lot of chances, and he has been playing also different roles, right? He played a lot on the striker position. He played as a number 10, and sometimes you see him now playing on the wings. So how do you guys view the situation with Labyad?
I don't think he adds anything special to the team, and also I don't think he has anything special in his skill set also that makes you wanna put him on the
except for the free kicks.
Yeah, because at the beginning of the season I thought, okay, here's the next Schöne. We have someone who can score some free kicks, but after the 3 games this season, he doesn't even do that anymore. So then you have to look at other things, and my biggest concern with him is his lack of speed. He's a very slow player for a number 10 position. I don't think that wouldn't be a problem if your passing is extremely well. For example, Pirlo wasn't also a pretty fast player, but his passing was phenomenal.
Look, the thing is, right, you touch upon something very important, and I was thinking about that in the beginning of the season. I think I also mentioned it in one of our previous podcasts. I'm not sure if it's possible, right? I think maybe Ten Hag already thought about it maybe or checked it. But before Alvarez came and playing at the, like double pivot together with Gravenberch, and now you also have Blind playing on the midfield. But I thought that it might be an option to put Labyad as a Schöne role next to Gravenberch. But I'm not sure if he has that intelligence, because you have to be an intelligent player if you don't have the speed to play at that role. How do you see it? Because he lacks the speed for
I don't
play
think
up
he
front.
can play in that role. I don't think he can play in that role. I think he has to make such a big adjustment in his way of thinking, because he always played in a more attacking role.
But Schöne did the same.
True, but he was a little bit older, and I think he has a different mentality than Labyad.
Okay.
With all due respect to Labyad, because I think it's a good guy. He's modest, and he's even if I would meet him, I think he's a real honest and modest guy. But I don't see anything special in his skill set to add something to the first squad of Ajax.
Okay.
The only thing to me that he brings now is also like Klaiber, a little bit more depth to the squad. That's all.
Pimento, your take?
Yeah, for me, Labyad will never be a first-team player. I think from the bench he can be useful with maybe his free kicks, but you notice like in front of the goal he can be clinical. But the Ajax football doesn't get better when he's on the pitch. So it's not a joy to watch. Him on a 10, him on a 9. I think he's more of a winger anyway, but there's no option for him there. But he's limited, and I actually feel sad for Schöne that you guys are comparing him with him, because Schöne had an excellent passing next to his free kick and was a very smart player. Like he knew how to control his space. If people would pressure him, they won't get the ball from him, and that's not something you see with Labyad. Labyad, you see the control sometimes lacking. So yeah, that's my honest opinion. I think anything under top 6, he could be a first 11 player for Ajax, just to give the starters rest. But that's it. It's not Champions League quality.
The thing about Schöne, look,
if I can say one more thing
ahead.
about Labyad, the same thing we said about Schuurs, that we didn't saw the Schuurs from Sittard. I haven't seen the Labyad from Utrecht.
Yeah. Look,
because
and I said,
in that role, at that club, he played in such a way that at first I totally understood why he was bought by Overmars, but as soon as he played his first matches, I didn't see the same thing at all.
True. That also shows that the level of Ajax is something different than the other teams in the Eredivisie.
Yeah.
Look, just one more thing I want to add. Pavimento, don't get me wrong. I'm saying a Schöne role. I didn't say that Labyad could be as good as Schöne. The thing I also looked at, Schöne, despite him being slow or not very pacey, he could speed up the game by his passing. That's something I haven't seen Labyad doing so far. He has been playing up front, but I don't see, if you're really a good player, like Pirlo, as an example, they can speed up the game with a pass, just like that. And I haven't seen Labyad doing that. So that's why I have also a big question mark whether he can play that role, that Schöne had previously. But
I think Labyad, in his personality on the pitch, he's more selfish in front of goal than Schöne. Schöne lost the pass,
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right, let's move to the next one. We have 2 players more to cover, so let's move to Ekkelenkamp. Ekkelenkamp, well, that's quite a different situation. I think the player that has played the least of all the bunch. He was not allowed to leave to go on loan at the beginning of the season, so I was expecting him to get a little bit of playing time this year. But so far, it has been very limited. And with the time that he got to being subbed in and the chances he got, although limited, he did not really make his mark. How do you guys view that? And do you guys think maybe this is the end for him?
I think it is. Like I said before about someone else, he has no X factor for me. He reminds me of the time that we had Frank de Boer as coach, and we had 3 midfielders who were lacking of something special. It's I think he's a good player, but not for the style Ajax is playing
at the moment, the level that we have now.
Just in general, because the way he's playing, I'm really wondering why Ajax took him or kept him.
Maybe also that. Maybe also.
Yeah, well, at the beginning when I saw him play, he reminded me of Liedmanen. Just a functional technique, nothing special, nothing more. But maybe, and if you looked at him at young Ajax, he was scoring his goals, but very invisible on the pitch. And they missed him when he wasn't around. But he didn't. To me, he didn't develop anymore, any further. And he doesn't have a good shot that he shows off once in a game, or yeah. I don't know why he's the reason why they kept him this year. Why they didn't send him on a loan or something.
Yeah, I must say I'm going to be harsh for Ekkelenkamp. I think he's one of the players that got the most chances to play last year also. But I think when he started, he showed more than what he's showing now. So maybe there's something in his personal life that we don't know about. But till now, I haven't seen what Ekkelenkamp's specialty is. And that's weird for somebody that got so many chances already. Do you see a specialty with him, Ekkelenkamp? He's slow.
You're saying a lot of chances, but you mean a lot of chances taking into consideration last season, because this season he hasn't got a lot of chances.
No, but if a coach says we want to keep the player here, it means you're close to first team football. But what we have seen from him coming in had nothing to do with first team football. That was young Ajax level, maybe even worse. Cool. So that's what I actually meant. He's not getting the playing time, but when he gets the playing time, I'm not seeing the specialty of his added value on the pitch.
Yeah, this season he hasn't showed something special. Last season, I remember the Juventus game. He did something special. I mean, not the Ronaldo throw, but he brought something.
Everybody salutes him for that. But that's the thing. It only stayed with that.
Exactly. And people remember him for that only because he didn't change or he didn't bring something new to the table.
Exactly.
All right, last player on the list, Lassina Traoré. So Lassina Traoré, beginning of the season, we didn't have Haller yet. Tadic was not an option as a striker at the moment, at that time, I'm sorry. So Traoré got a lot of chances to play, even before Brobbey, because also Brobbey was a little bit injured at that time. So he had to come back from an injury, get a little bit more fit. Traoré got a lot of chances, basically, to play. He even played in the Atalanta game, the first one. He did well, actually, in that game as well. But now he also ran into an injury, and now in the second half of the season, because also the buy of Haller, everything changed. Now he's not even getting playing time as a sub because Brobbey surpassed him. So what does it mean for Traoré? What does it mean for us as Ajax, with Traoré? Is it somebody that we have to have patience with, or do you guys think he will not develop into a better player?
Looking at the guy, I think we have to be more patient with him. I think it's a good player, a good striker, a good man to give the ball, because he can hold that ball. I think Ajax fans don't like about him is when he has a chance in front of the goal that he needs a lot of chances to score a goal.
Yeah.
That he can't keep his rest in front of the goal. I think that's the main thing that Ajax fans are talking about. I don't see him making it at Ajax, but for the overall, I think he has the same potential, maybe, as Brobbey has. So, but let's not forget, he scored a lot of goals at the beginning of the season.
True.
Because maybe he felt good, maybe he thought it was his time to shine, and maybe after his injury, or maybe the signing of Haller put him back. Don't know. Who will tell? And another thing, I don't mind if players are big and strong, but in his case, I would actually ask him if I would really, no homo, but I would really want to see him without a shirt on, because I'm really asking myself, is this guy not a little bit overweight? If he has only muscles, I'm not complaining, because I remember a guy like Ulrich von Hobel. He looks big in his shirt, but when he took
don't, man, don't. No fan or talks.
The guns came out. No, but true. Respect to the players. But I know that those are the only things that I'm hoping he will develop in, and as a substitute for Haller, maybe he can compete with him and surpass Haller. And at the moment, that's not something difficult, because Haller is out of shape.
Yeah, but it's temporary, right?
Yeah, that's what everybody is saying.
let's wait and see. All right,
Yeah.
So Minto, what's your take on Lassina?
Yeah, look, Lassina, I think he needs more time, but I do see, like, in the Champions League, he showed excellent skill and physical power to hold off those defenders. So I do like his energy in the game. I do like that he comes in the ball to hold the ball, and he doesn't always do it perfect, by the way, like Tadic, for instance. But he has that, that he comes in the ball and he wants to transfer the ball to get the attack going. He doesn't always do it perfect. He needs to work on his ball control a little bit more. He also needs to get a little bit clinical in front of goal. But his work rate was amazing before his injury. I really liked what I saw, and I think if he becomes really more clinical in front of goal, it could be an added value for Ajax. The only thing is, I do think that him and Haller are the same type, and Brobbey is a different type to me than Traoré. He's more somebody that relies on his speed and waits for his moment, while Brobbey really wants to go in every ball and be the 1-2 guy,
Yeah, because Brobbey adds depth to the squad. He's a player that can make runs, and I think Traoré lacks that. Traoré is a more like a player that holds the ball.
He is faster than you think.
Yeah, but
that's the thing about his size, because he's big, but he is faster than you think.
Then he has to play. He has to work on that then, because I haven't seen him play like that, making runs.
That was the thing I wanted to say earlier. I think the leaving of Huntelaar might be something to do with his way of playing, because he told in a lot of interviews that he looked up to him, and the way he at his age, how he still was hungry for goals, the way he put effort in his practices, and still wanting to be better at the age of 35, 36, and so for him. That being said, I really think that maybe something that has something to do with it also, someone to look up to in your team.
Maxwell, I just want to say that maybe his idol is Huntelaar, but he doesn't play the way Huntelaar plays. So that's not the perfect role model for him. He should look at how Tadic plays the 9, because that's the kind of player he wants to be.
I agree, but that's not what I meant. It's more like you told him he has to be more clinical in front of the goal. Well, there's no one more clinical for the goal than Huntelaar, because Huntelaar lacks in a lot of other skills. But in front of the goal, Huntelaar is one of the top strikers to me, and that's something that Traoré can take over from him. In the box, you have to be clinical. You have to, every chance you get should be a shot on target, and not over the goal or past the post or anything like that. And that's what we see in his shots right now at goal.
Guys, I can feel it, man. I can. You want to subscribe.